everyone, this is Danielle, also known as Gently Smiling Jaws, and welcome to this Flosstube Extra. If you have been following me for a while, you will probably have seen the temperature chart that I've been working on based on Bandersnatch, a snake that I had who was actually my first snake, and I designed this temperature chart based on him, which seemed appropriate to stitch for 2025 because it is the year of the snake. And I will be posting this video on Lunar New Year, so the start of the year of the snake. So down in the description box there will be links to the chart. There are two versions of it. One that has everything on a single page and one that is multi-page. Just sort of your preference if one works better for you than the other. Both should import into Pattern Keeper just fine. When you go to import them, you're going to get that pop-up that says that the grids don't make sense. And when that comes up, you're going to click OK on it. You're going to scroll down to the second page where there's a grid that has numbers charted. So if you were going to stitch it in a year other than 2025, that's where I have the numbers 0 through 9. So when you get to that grid, you want to hit the little trash can so that Pattern Keeper isn't trying to import that grid. And once you do that and click OK, it should, import everything else just fine, and it should work as intended. So I wanted to mention some things about the chart for anyone who's planning on stitching it. For the temperatures, I chose to have 12 different colors, with the lowest one being everything below 0 degrees and the highest one being everything 100 degrees and higher. And for where I live, that's sort of a temperature range that makes sense. And then I should also say that this is in Fahrenheit. But depending on where you live, you may wish to change and have, more colors, switch things around, just, do what makes sense for you, or switch things into Celsius. It's something where have it work for, do what you need to do so it works best for you. And so as you look at the pattern, starting from the head of the snake, the first rectangle is for like January and the next is February, etc., going around. If you are stitching this in a year that's a leap year, for February, next to February there is a column of stitches that is just green. You could just remove that so that there's an extra day if you're stitching it in a year where there are 29 days for February. How I am doing my stitches, and we'll see, because I'm still in the middle of working on this as I am posting this. I have gone through, I think, the first 26 days of February, I think, on the one that I'm stitching, and what you'll see in the pictures. But in doing that, for January, sort of the top 3 stitches in each column are the high for the day, and the bottom 3 are the low temperature for the day. And I think I'm going to kind of have that, sort of like follow the snake's body around, so that as the body curves for February, in the next couple of months, that then the high temperature will then be on the bottom and the lows on the top. But you do it however works for you. This is just what I think I'm going to do. I will also put a link to the website that I am using to pull my temperatures from. I think it's called AccuWeather, and I just started using that one because you can, and maybe there are other sites that can do this too, but this is just the one I started using, so I'm going to stick with it. You can pull up kind of a monthly view for the temperatures, so I'm planning on just, a couple times a month, sitting down, kind of pulling up the monthly temperatures and, putting in the temps for, a chunk at a time, and then kind of going on. Let's see. So the colors are all DMC colors. Some things that I wanted to note is the blue that I've used for the 2025 on the chart, which is DMC 995. I just really like that color, and I wanted to use it. I stitched it in there, and then as I was, kind of continuing along and finalizing my temperature colors, I realized that I didn't want to use it as one of the temperature colors. So really, it's only used for the year. So you could totally do that whatever color you want. That's really the only spot that's color is used. So don't go buying a whole skein if you don't have it on hand just for that small amount of stitches. Let's see. Also, you could potentially cut down on some other colors as well. The blue and yellow that are used on the body of Bander, I was trying to match those colors to what his colors actually looked like. So the yellow and blues that are the temperature colors are different. So I mean, you could change it up so that the yellow for the temperature chart and the yellow on his body were the same. You could potentially switch the blue in his body to be one of the temperature colors, although at the edges of the months, then you may have some things that kind of blend in a little bit with the temperature and his body. But it's up to you. There is some backstitch on the pattern. There's sort of a line of backstitch down, all down the back of the snake, and it's pretty subtle. So if you don't want to do it, that's completely fine to leave it out. I don't think it's going to make that much of a difference. I just wanted to do it because he did have this bit of a blue stripe going along his back, so that's for me and the accuracy to my snake. But it's could be totally understandable to leave that out, because I don't think it adds a ton to the look. There is also backstitch down in the legend, because of course the numbers are backstitched, and the teeny tiny tongues on the little snakes in the legend, the little fork tongue, that is backstitching, and it's backstitching that isn't really going to work on Ada. You could either fudge that around, do something else, or leave it out if you want to stitch on Ada. Once again, it's entirely up to you, but I just wanted to point that out. Oh, the other thing I wanted to mention is sort of why I decided to do this as a free pattern, and there's a number of reasons for it. One is that this is my first time doing something like this. I feel like I'm still in the learning process of doing it, and I didn't really feel ready to be charging for something like this. Two, because I don't know when or if I'm going to design something again. I don't really feel compelled to try to, work on setting up some kind of storefront, especially when I've seen people talking about things with changes over in the EU that affect people even selling things like PDFs, and I know folks are still kind of navigating those waters, and I didn't really feel like dealing with all that right now, particularly because I wanted to have this available for folks for Lunar New Year. And then kind of the last thing there is that I know in a lot of ways the beginning of this year has not been fun for a lot of people, not been great. Lots of things going on in the world that aren't so good, and if having a free pattern to stitch on can bring you a little bit of enjoyment, then please have a little bit of enjoyment. The other thing is that I don't know for sure that I will leave this pattern up indefinitely. I don't have, any plans of, oh, it's, gonna be taken down on such and such a date. No, nothing like that. I'm intending to just leave it up for now, but at some point, it may come down. So if you want it, just go ahead and download it and add it to your pattern collection, like so many of us that have patterns that we don't stitch anytime soon. All right, well, I think that is about all. This is just a voiceover video because I tried to film a video the other day. It didn't turn out like I wanted, and now if I want to get this up when I want to get this up, I don't have enough time to really sit down and film something. So a voiceover it is. So that, I think, is that. Thank you so much for watching. If you decide to stitch it, I'd be interested in seeing how yours turns out. Thanks so much. Bye.